What's going on, everybody? Boy, has this been a crazy last couple 2 to 3 weeks. And I want to apologize by not making any videos, but I took some personal time and now I'm back. And what a time to come back to the podcast. Crazy stuff happening. The Rock, Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, Cody Rhodes. It's going to be quite the podcast. So stick around. You're going to enjoy this one. All right. So just what a crazy week this has been. I mean, just this week alone, the WrestleMania kickoff press conference in Las Vegas. Boy, that took an unexpected turn. We went from The Rock coming back, surprising everyone, and then addressing wanting to potentially dabble, with Roman Reigns, sending subtle hints of should I sit at the head of the table? Just stuff like that where what else are we going to think? Of course we're going to in our minds going to be like, "Oh, WrestleMania, Roman versus The Rock." Then Royal Rumble comes around. Unexpectedly, Cody Rhodes wins it because everyone was like, CM Punk came back. He's going to win the Royal Rumble so that he can challenge Seth Rollins. That didn't happen. So here we are. Cody Rhodes definitely wanting to challenge Roman Reigns for the WWE Undisputed Championship. Now, The Rock in this whole thing is like, so obviously, let's rewind back to the Royal Rumble. It is said that CM Punk injured himself during the Royal Rumble match, which was caused somehow by Drew McIntyre. Which, I mean, granted, stuff like that happens. Do I think it's part of a story? Absolutely not. I think this is absolutely true. The injury is true. I don't think there's anything fictional about it. So, do I think that CM Punk was supposed to win the Rumble? Yeah, absolutely. It was definitely looking that way leading up to the final two of the Rumble. So seeing Cody Rhodes win it at the end was incredibly surprising, and you can see my genuine reaction on my TikTok where I put my reaction of the ending of the Royal Rumble because I was watching it live and live streaming it. So I posted that because it was surprising, and of course, I was also happy that CM Punk didn't win it. But that in the end is just creating more confusion and more what ifs and more questions rather than answers, especially with The Rock having returned, right? So he came back and cut the promo of, should I sit at the head of the table? Yada, 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 right? Leading to a WrestleMania match with Roman Reigns. Now, Cody's in the mix. With Cody obviously also wanting to challenge Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins steps in. Cuts a quick promo on Cody like, "Hey, this is the working man's title, World Heavyweight Championship. You should challenge me instead of Roman." Which, I mean, granted, that would be great, but in the end, it just wouldn't make sense. Cody came into the business to challenge Roman Reigns. The first time didn't work, and now the second time, this just feels like it's supposed to be this way. But it's just all the timing. The timing is just all crazy, especially like if it wasn't for The Rock returning, like then it would be like, oh yeah, no brainer. But now The Rock is back, and it just felt like realistically, because of the way things have transpired, nobody wants The Rock versus Roman Reigns. And or if there are people that want it, of course there are, but it's a smaller percentage than the fans that want Cody versus Roman. So, as we know, on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, other social media platforms, hashtag We Want Cody was trending like crazy because people want Cody versus Roman. And the fact that fans are literally chanting Rocky sucks is crazy. Because The Rock hasn't been a heel since, what, early 2000s? Or late 90s? And then he obviously was the ultimate babyface, and then he left WWE, and then he had sporadic appearances here and there where he was, of course, a babyface and just mega pops when his music would hit. Like, people are like, oh my god, can't believe The Rock is back. So, now hearing people chant Rocky sucks is phenomenal. But it's also, like when his music hits the pop, it won't stop. Like of course, as soon as people hear it, they're going to be like, "Oh my god, yes!" But once he's in the ring, starts to talk, then things change. That's how it is with a lot of superstars as well. I mean, we all remember Cena. Cena would get a good pop. As soon as the pop would end, like 2 to 3 seconds in, the boos would start, and then he would get in the ring. It would go back and forth between, let's go Cena, Cena sucks. Let's go Cena, Cena sucks. Now, The Rock is getting a little taste of what Cena went through for a very long time. And I think The Rock is actually embracing this. I think he's actually really enjoying it because it's bringing a different type of energy to the field now. So we fast forward all the way to let's just go straight to the kickoff press conference that happened on Thursday. Yesterday, because today's Friday. A lot of unexpected, obviously. The way things went, because when we go back to Friday Night SmackDown, Cody Rhodes came out, cut his little promo on Roman, and unexpectedly, it appeared he gave up his spot. Like, he was like, yeah, like, I still want your title. I still want to take everything away from you, but not at WrestleMania. That definitely caught a lot of people by surprise, because then he would go into talking about how he sought counsel. And then he said, it's from someone that knows you very well. And then The Rock's music hits. He comes out. Rock and Cody hug. You can see the disappointment in Cody's face, but Rock says some stuff. Cody smiles. Cody leaves. And then there's just this, no words spoken, just a standoff between The Rock and Roman. And then they get closer, and then it's a face-to-face. And then the show ends. Like, it was a little, I don't know, like, it definitely felt awkward. It felt like there was a little bit missing. Because how many times does The Rock come out and not say a word, and then the show ends? That's just a little weird, right? So it was definitely awkward, because, and then obviously people would be like, oh, that's your match for WrestleMania. That's just what it felt like at the time. So then we go to the kickoff show. Well, I guess we can also talk a little bit about Monday Night Raw, the following week, and basically Drew McIntyre just calling out Cody like, hey, like, don't let yourself be bullied, basically. So maybe Cody took that to heart, because Thursday press conference, let me tell you, that was like, there was some heat, and it obviously at some point it looked like, oh, The Rock is looking like he's starting to favor Roman a little bit, and then he talks about family, about blood, and then next thing you know, he's slapping Cody in the face, and now they're just bickering back and forth, and I'm like, where did this come from? Like, how did this happen? Like, last week, apparently you gave up your spot for The Rock, and now you're taking it back, and The Rock is a heel now? Like, how does this work? So, and the funny thing is, because The Rock is taking all this heat now, and he's definitely making it look like he's a heel now, he's also making it look like he's in charge. He was ahead of Roman. He was talking over Roman. Roman was kind of like in the background. So that, like, that's just weird. Because especially if you're there now to support him, like who of the two are going to be, like, is Roman the tribal chief? Or is The Rock? Like, it can't be both. So I think that that will be a interesting development itself, just because obviously at some point Roman's gonna have to challenge The Rock and like, hey, I'm the tribal chief. What are you doing? Like, why are you talking like you're in charge? So definitely feels like it's gonna go that way at some point. It's just gonna be very interesting to see what happens, like, in these next couple weeks, especially Elimination Chamber. Who knows what happens there, if they even show up. So it's gonna be an interesting road to WrestleMania, I can tell you that. But it's still, obviously the match between Cody and Roman is official. Like, it's done. Like, it's announced. It's Triple H said final decision was made. Cody versus Roman at WrestleMania 40 in the main event. Like, it's going to happen. My question is, how is The Rock going to be involved in this? Because obviously, like, he's here now. Like, we can't just ignore that. Like, we can't just be like, oh, well, like, let's forget about The Rock. Like, obviously there's going to be some type of involvement from him, and like, everyone expected the match between him and Roman at WrestleMania. So, but now that it's officially announced with Cody and Roman, how is The Rock actually going to fit into this? And, you know, like, there's speculations that it's going to be end up being a triple threat match, or maybe somehow The Rock is going to challenge Roman at Elimination Chamber, and that's how that's going to end. But there's just so many questions and no answers yet. And especially now, it looks like Roman and The Rock are, like, partnered together. Like, they're together in the Bloodline faction. So seeing a match against each other now is kind of written off in the way it feels. But then again, just last week, everything seemed to be cool and dandy between Cody and The Rock, and The Rock going up against Roman at WrestleMania, and not even 5 days later, it completely flipped. So, going to be very interesting to see what actually happens and how it happens. And now, I think we talked about The Rock, Roman, and Cody enough, which brings me to Seth Rollins and the World Heavyweight Championship. What's going to happen with them? What's going to happen with him? How is he going to move forward? Because he's not going to be active in the ring until WrestleMania, so he says, because of his injury. He's still pretty active in like on TV and showing up to events and blah blah blah, right? So, but he doesn't have an opponent yet. I for sure thought it was going to be Gunther, but it doesn't really seem that way. I mean, just looking at Drew McIntyre's social media feed and his appearances on TV and his promos, I have a strong feeling it's going to be Drew McIntyre versus Seth Rollins at WrestleMania for the World Heavyweight Championship, and I believe that Drew McIntyre will finally do it. Not only because he's been doing so good lately, but I just feel like he's deserved it for quite a while now. And I just want to see I just want to see Drew McIntyre as the champion. Like, I'm a huge fan of him. And his current run, you can't even really call it a heel run. Like, he's just being a regular dude. He's like, I've been screwed over so many times. I'm just here to work and get the title. Like, I'm not here to make friends. I'm like, whatever. And you can't really call that a heel because he still walks down the ramp, you know, high-fiving fans on the sides and whatnot. Like, he's still doing the good stuff. But, you know, like, every now and then he attacks someone here, he attacks someone there, he cheap shots Seth Rollins when he's all injured and whatnot. But, like, he doesn't give a heel vibe. He just gives, like, a regular vibe who's a little bit bitter, who wants the championship. That's Drew McIntyre right now. And I'm all for it. I think it's great. I think this current run of Drew McIntyre is so amazing. However, there's one thing I would change. That thing is I would change his entrance music. Like, yeah, the sword coming out the sheath and then the bagpipes and everything. Yeah, it's iconic Drew because it fits from where, like, his Scottish heritage, of course. But we gotta bring back his old theme song. It's so good. It fits so good with his current character. Like, why not bring it back? Especially, like if you bring it back, like, bring it back for WrestleMania. That it would fit in so good with bringing back his old theme at WrestleMania and then win the championship. Like, that, it's not too much to ask for. Come on. So that's, like, I just really enjoy his current run. And there's obviously other superstars that I wish would have a better run in the WWE currently and will be a little bit more recognized, like Shinsuke Nakamura. He's one of the guys that I believe should have been a world champion a while ago, especially when he had his last feud with Seth Rollins over the title. I fully believe he should have won it. However, didn't work out that way. Now he's after that he did a couple of mid-card gigs. Now he's feuding with Cody Rhodes, and it's going back and forth here. Like, it seemed like their feud stopped, and then, like, it came back. So we'll see how that goes. But I wish to see Shinsuke Nakamura in a more prominent, in a more main event type, in a more main event type. Man, I forgot what I wanted to say now. Anyway, I wish he was a little bit more involved with main event stuff, right? And, like, as much as I would like to see him as a world champion, I just don't think there's room right now for Shinsuke. Mainly because he already had the main title feud going on with Seth and didn't win it. And now there's other people in the picture, which I'm fine. Like Drew McIntyre, for example, I'm fine with him being in the picture rather than Shinsuke. However, I think Shinsuke should be, even though I want him in the main event, I think he should be starting to compete for the mid card titles, like whether it's the US or the Intercontinental title. Like he should be in that mix, in my opinion. Now, when it comes to the mid card titles itself, we got Gunther, who's still IC champion. And last I checked, he doesn't really have anyone that's there to challenge him. He didn't have a fight at Royal Rumble because he was in the Rumble itself. And then in Elimination Chamber, geez, brain fart. Elimination Chamber in Perth, there's nothing announced yet that I've seen. Unless there's going to be some type of a number one contender Elimination Chamber for the IC title, which I don't know. Like just do an IC title and Elimination Chamber. That would be pretty cool. That like that you would be able to put a lot more different characters in the mix rather than just building up a story and a feud between just Gunther and one other person. And that's where Shinsuke would come in, being in the Elimination Chamber with Gunther, and I don't know who else right now. Because we also got the U.S. title going on, and I feel like the U.S. title is spoken for Kevin Owens until that whole thing is taken care of and whatnot. Because obviously Royal Rumble, whatever happened. Obviously, I don't think that story's done, so we'll see how that continues. But I think there's a lot to think about and talk about with the IC title, because there's still a lot. There, like with the IC title, it doesn't feel like there's any competition for it right now. It doesn't seem like anything on TV is leading towards like, hey, I want to challenge Gunther. Like, I haven't seen any of that lately. I would like to see maybe the Miz join in again. He would be a good asset into either winning it or boosting it again. So there's a couple names that could contend or could contest Gunther for the title. But I mean, and then once again, like Shinsuke, he already won the IC title, but again, I'd rather have him win the IC title, go with that for a little bit until there's room for him to move on to the World Heavyweight Championship. And I think that's going to be like towards the end of the year, because now, let me take a sip real quick because I'm on a roll. Because now, you got to understand, we got Cody and Roman, we got Drew and Seth Rollins. I really believe that Drew and Seth Rollins is going to be the main event for WrestleMania for the World Heavyweight Championship. Probably night one. And then we still have Damian Priest, who has the Money in the Bank. And he could go for either, really. Because let's say Drew and Seth and Roman and Cody are the main events, right? You have Cody. Let's say he wins it, finishes the story. Out comes Damian Priest, just to, like, yeah, the story was completed, but I have something to say about that. And then here comes Damian Priest, takes the title away from him. Or you got Drew and Seth. Drew wins the title. This is his first major title in front of fans, where, because last time coronavirus screwed him over. First title win in front of 80,000 people. And he's super excited. He's like, yes, I finally did it. Here comes Damian Priest. And he's like, no, Your moment is over because I'm taking it from you. Those will be some amazing. Like it would be out of nowhere because like obviously there's no build up for it, but that's the part of Money in the Bank. Like you just show up. But of course, there is a storyline that goes with it after. So, and it's like what if he does cash it in on either of them, or it doesn't even have to be them. It could be Roman or Seth if they retain, right? Whether or not he cashes in on either of them, like it creates the storyline with whoever he took it from, but also involves the person who lost it because they're going to be like, wait, what about my rematch? I'm going to want that. And that's going to create a triangle feud, which could obviously bring in a triple threat match. And, you know, we've seen it in the past. Money in the Bank is nothing new. So it could definitely be a very interesting a sequence of events after. Now, of course, he could cash in at Elimination Chamber. And realistically, like, come on, like, Seth Rollins is hurt right now, and he's still showing up to shows. Like, you know, like, there's obviously some other planning involved. But if it doesn't happen at Elimination Chamber, of course, it's gonna be at WrestleMania. So I'm excited for tonight's Friday Night SmackDown because obviously I'm sure there's gonna be quite the talk about what happened yesterday. So it's going to be very interesting to see. So I'm pretty excited for that. I'm gonna depending on what happens, I may post a video on my TikTok and on Shorts here about my opinion on what's going on, what's unfolding. So it's going to be a very interesting couple weeks, especially a couple months until WrestleMania. So stay tuned. And once again, all you guys that support me, subscribe and everything, like appreciate you guys. I'll see you guys next time.